Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Premier's Conference Room, Government of the Virgin Islands, for another contract signing ceremony. Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Dr. Orlando Smith, Minister for Communications and Works, Honorable Mark Vanterpool, other government public servants, invited guests, including the Ministry of Communications and Works team, that is, and the media, good afternoon. Welcome to this contract signing. This afternoon, the Government of the Virgin Islands will sign two contracts, that is, two major contracts for infrastructure works here in the British Virgin Islands. The first contract is for the Rotown sewer system pipeline replacement, and the second contract is for rehabilitation of drains, retaining walls, and road works to Paramtown Tortola BVI. In the one contract, which deals with the sewer system pipeline, we will have within the scopes installation of approximately 1,500 feet of 15-foot to 21-foot PVC sewer pipes. We'll provide and install approximately 12 reinforced concrete manholes, provide and install steel interlocking sheet piles for embankment stabilization, and undertaken sundry works relating to the sewer line replacement. The other contract, which concerns the rehabilitation of drains, retaining walls, and roadworks, will include site clearance, demolition and removal of existing structures, raising of the road elevation, repair and or reconstruction of concrete curbs, relocation of utilities, installation of road signage and markings, and of course construction of concrete box drains, etc., as it relates to that aspect of the works. At this time, I invite to bring remarks on this significant event the Honorable Mark Vanterpool, Minister for Communications and Works. Honorable Vanterpool.
Thank you very much, Mr. St-Hilaire. Good afternoon, everyone. Premier, members of the head table, contractors, Brother Hodge, Brother Jean, Brother Richard, Brother Ashley and co, ministry staff, other government officials, my good friends from the press, as always. Thank you for coming. The signing of these two major contracts here this afternoon represents the continued commitment of this government to advance plans to build and maintain modern infrastructural systems in the territory of the Virgin Islands. The Ministry of Communications and Works is tasked with, among other areas, providing efficient sewage systems and a safe, stronger road network and drainage system. As a government, we inherited a sewage problem that has plagued this territory for many years, but we are determined to make significant progress to remedy this problem of raw sewage running through the streets, creating an unsanitary situation for residents and visitors. In November 2012, when we were elected to office, we acted immediately on recommendations to proceed with remedial works in the Eastern Longlook and Rotown areas on Tortola. We now no longer have raw sewage running on the main road next to the Immigration and Labor Department, as was the case before, and motorists and pedestrians can maneuver the area in safety. We now no longer have the foul smell in the area, which was unhealthy, and residents and visitors can now enjoy a more pleasant sojourn in the capital city of Rotown. Obviously, this is because our government moved swiftly to repair the Rotown pump station as a temporary fix and took on some other remedial works. In the Greenland area, we also moved to install a temporary sewage treatment plant by the behest or strong admonition of the member for the 8th District and the 7th, which will be officially commissioned within the next few weeks on the eastern end of the island. We will soon no longer see raw sewage running on the Greenland Main Road, another major accomplishment of the government of the Virgin Islands for people. In the 2014 budget, the government of Premier Dr. D. Yolanda Smith allocated $8 million to continue the national sewage program here in the territory. On March 25th, government signed a $1.4 million contract with W&W Reliable Construction to install an 1,800-foot pipeline to collect sewage from the communities of Red Bay, the Sound, Chapel Hill, and Parham Town in the east. This is part of the wider East End Sewer Project, which involves installation of approximately 6,000 feet of 18-inch gravity sewer pipeline along Blackburn Highway from Chapel Hill to Fat Hogs Bay. Today's contract signing with Gene Hodge Backhoe, Bulldozer and Trucking Company Limited represents a further commitment by our government to fix our sewage problem. Gene Hodge Backhoe, Bulldozer and Trucking Company Limited submitted a proposal in the amount of $1,313,833 on July 2013, 30th July 2013, for the Road Town Sewage System Pipeline replacement, and the bid was accepted. According to the scope of works, the contractor is required to install sewer pipelines between the main pump station at the Road Town roundabout, technically referred to as manhole number JB-E2, to Nib Street at the Cutlass Tower, also referred to as manhole number MH-4D, and also to remedy any defects. This project is expected to be completed in approximately 10 weeks. Other works on the Road Town Sewage project are expected to commence on this Saturday, 24th May, and be completed within 3 weeks through a series of petty contracts. This government is fully committed to ensuring the full participation of as many local contractors as is possible. There will be some inconveniences while these works are ongoing. However, we beg the indulgence of the public as we work to minimize such disruptions. We specifically ask that the motoring public adhere to all traffic control signs that will be in place while we undertake these works. The other major contract today will be signed between the government of the Virgin Islands and the Sunwise Limited for the rehabilitation of drains, retaining walls, and roadworks in Parham Town. This is part of the $15.7 million Caribbean Development Bank Loan Infrastructural Development Program to undertake the rehabilitation work to roads and bridges damaged by heavy rainfall during the passage of subtropical storm Otto in 2010. Sunwise Limited submitted a winning bid for the Parham Town works in the amount of $1,565,505.70. Work is expected to commence in a month's time and will be completed within 180 days or 6 months from the date of commencement. You would appreciate that major infrastructure projects of this nature demand a lot of resources and would take some time to come to fruition. I am extremely happy as Minister that we have reached this stage and would like to thank everyone on the local CDB project team headed by Dr. Drexel Glasgow, thank the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Communication and Works, and other departments who cooperated to bring these two projects in Road Town and Parham Town and on the eastern end to this point. I would like to congratulate both contractors on being awarded the opportunity to undertake these very important projects. I want to encourage you to get on with your respective projects, taking into consideration the need to work in a timely, safe, and professional manner, and of course, within budget. I'm also taking this opportunity to remind all contractors that other projects are to be tendered within the next few weeks, and this is your opportunity to participate in the development of a country. To the general public, as a government, we appreciate your patience as we work to build a better Virgin Islands for all in the territory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Vanterpool, for your remarks on today's signing ceremony. The Minister has made his remarks, and he has clearly outlined that the first project for the sewer pipeline will take 10 weeks, and the rehabilitation works for the drains, the retaining walls, etc., will take approximately 180 days, which is 6 months, and he has underscored on time and within budget. And we are asking that the public certainly play their part in terms of exercising patience as well as adhering to all of the signage so that it can be safe throughout the life cycle of the project. So thank you, Honorable Vanderpool, for those remarks. At this time, we will have the signing of the contracts. Signing on behalf of the Government of the Virgin Islands is the Premier, Honorable Dr. D'Orlando Smith and Honorable Mark Vanterpool, and signing on behalf of Sandwise Limited is Mr. Ashley Ritter, and his witness is going to be Mrs. Roxanne Ritter Herbert, and signing on behalf of Gene Hodge Backhoe Bulldozer and Trucking Company Limited will be Mr. Gene Hodge himself and his witness, Mr. Richard DeCastro. The signing of the contracts at this time, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce that the Government of the Virgin Islands has signed 2 major infrastructure contracts totaling a sum of almost $3 million in the currency of the United States dollar. Speaking on behalf of Sandwise Limited, I invite Mrs. Roxanne Ritter Herbert to bring response remarks as it relates to the rehabilitation of drains, retaining walls, and roadworks that Sandwise Limited will undertake for the Government of the Virgin Islands. Mrs. Ritter Herbert.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Honorable Premier, Minister of Communication and Works, Mr. Mark Vanterpool, other members of press, government, Mr. Gene Hodge and his witness, and my dad, Mr. Ritter. On behalf of Sandwise Limited, we'd like to thank the Government of the Virgin Islands for affording us this opportunity to receive this contract. This was a new adventure for us because dealing with the new requirements stipulated with the CDB guidelines, but we made it. Mr. Glasgow could attest to it. It was something different and something new. Just to let the public know, we are cognizant of the traffic in the Pahamtong area, and this will be taken into consideration within our working hours. And please note that this project will be completed within the realms of this contract, and it will be completed on time, as the minister stipulated. Once there are no changes, we will deliver above your expectations. Once again, we thank the Government of the Virgin Islands for affording us this opportunity of awarding us this contract, and we look forward to working with you as we work together for the betterment of these Virgin Islands. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Roxanne Ritter-Hobart, speaking in response on behalf of Sandwise Limited. I now invite Mr. Richard DeCastro, who will give response on behalf of Gene Hodge Backhoe Bulldozer and Trucking Company Limited for the Rotown Sewer System Pipeline Replacement contract that they have just signed. Mr. DeCastro.
Good afternoon to everyone. All right. Mr. Hodge would like to thank the government for the opportunity to be able to, complete such a sensitive project in the heart of Rotown. And one of the things we're going to put out there very early is we're asking for the full cooperation of the various departments that are going to be working with this project. The project is a sensitive project, and it involves intergovernment agencies as well. So we're putting it out there that we're asking for full cooperation early so that we can do, as the minister said, complete the project on budget and on time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. DeCastro, for bringing a response on behalf of the company Gene Hodge Backhoe Bulldozer and Trucking. Now, this is the most exciting part of the contract signing, I believe. We're going to have a few questions and answers. Of course, the questions being posed by the media, and I will attempt to moderate those questions, and the minister and the premier will answer accordingly.
Good afternoon. Zan Lewis, ZBV Radio. Minister Vanderpool, this question is for you. Both companies won the bids. How many bids were submitted in both cases?
I may have to deflect to some of my technical people here. I don't remember the numbers on them, each of them. So Dr. Glasgow, in the case of the CDB project, how many were submitted?
For CDB project, there were 3 submitted.
And for the sewage project, 4 were submitted. Thank you.
Minister Vanderpool, I noticed that you are signing 2 contracts today. Must congratulate the government for the work being done to take the sewage forward. What's the situation with CBE? I know the CBE was carrying out that part of the sewage works for a number of years. I'm not hearing much about the CBE. What's the position with the CBE?
CBE had a management contract for the project in Eastern and Rotown that was completed. I don't remember, it's September 2012 or 13, but the contract was completed. It was for $1.9 million. The government paid $2.2 million on the contract, and the ministry determined that the rest of the management of the project would be done within the ministry. So we have completed their contract, and they have been paid. They've done a good job from our point of view, and we felt that the rest of the project, from a budgetary standpoint, should be managed within the ministry.
So the contract was discontinued after expiring. You failed to continue or to renew that contract. Government failed to renew that contract.
I think, as I said, a contract has a beginning and it has an end. This contract begun and it ended. The contractor was paid, and we continue with the project.
Am I to believe, sir, that seeing the engineer here from CBE, Mr. McIntosh, he is now on board with the government in what other further work the government is doing on the sewage project? That he has been employed by the government, and if so, what is his job?
At the end of the contract, Mr. Sam McIntosh was hired by the government, and he oversees the project as we continue.
Good afternoon, Jason Smith from the Beacon. Mr. Vanderpool, you said that $8 million was going to be spent this year on the project, on the sewage project. This was, I can't remember offhand, but you said it was 1 point something. Where is the rest of the money going to be spent, and when will we see those signings?
The projects, particularly the main project in Rotown, will be completed through this part of the project here mostly, along with the other petty contracts we are executing at this time also. The main part of the rest of the project will be done in the East End Longlook area, where there'll be several parts of it, but we're intending to bring the pipelines from East End Longlook area all the way down to Paraquita Bay, where we are going to be building a treatment plant in Paraquita Bay. And so the rest of the funds will be spent bringing the pipelines down to that area over the next several months, and hopefully we can have a major part of it completed. Looking forward to the treatment plant being built in Paraquita Bay later this year, early next year, and hopefully we can have it all completed towards the end of next year, 2015.
Sean Rose, JTV News. Minister Vanderpool, that was the question that I had in mind. Where is the treatment plant? Now that you've mentioned that it should be completed or started by the end of this year and hopefully completed into 2015, what is the projected cost of the treatment plant?
I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't know the cost of that, but it's a project that's going to be wrapped into some works that will be done by the Bywater Group out in Paraquita Bay. And also the Bywater Group is responsible for running a pipeline from and putting in a large pump station close to the roundabout where the present pump station is. As well as this year, hopefully in the next month or two, beginning to install some larger new pipelines from the pumping station in near the roundabout to Boat Point, where they're also going to build another treatment plant at Boat Point in Rotown for the treatment of sewage in Rotown.
I'm sure you'll appreciate my next question, sir. Would the Bywater aspect of the contract, their works, be carried out in sync with these works before you repair the roads after you've dug them up to lay the lines and so forth? Or are we likely to see the roads being dug up again before the Bywater part of the contract or the Bywater works are carried out?
There are regular meetings with the Public Works Department, Water and Sewage, and the Bywater Group, as well as our project management team within the ministry. One was held up to yesterday at 12:30 or 1 o'clock to coordinate these works to ensure that exactly what you said doesn't happen. So when there's a project envisaged that when the Bywater Group does their work in Rotown, that we will immediately follow that with some overlay of the road and improvement of the road in Rotown from the roundabout to the Prospect Reef area. That is the intention.
Minister Vanderpool, while you echoed the sentiments whereby the sewage is now off the streets in Rotown in the area of the immigration, and also probably parts of Greenland, I noticed about a week ago, there's a new sewage burst, if I can call it that, next by the governor, down in that area. I think something happened there last week. Could you tell us what happened there, and if that's a new development?
I don't recall exactly what happened there, but we do have, from time to time, various pipes and so on throughout the territory. And Water and Sewage has been very efficient in quickly trying to remedy those, and I believe that one was handled. There was another one that happened by the Caribbean Insurance Building last week, and so on. So we address them as it happens. Hopefully when we replace these pipelines with newer pipelines, and that we won't have as many breakages as we have now, but that is something that they deal with on a regular basis. And I have to commend the Water and Sewage Department for the very efficient way that they handle these. They had a another emergency in Purcell Estate last week that they addressed very quickly, and in fact, they're putting some mitigation measures in place for any future occurrences in that area. So from time to time, they have these issues, and they quickly move to address them. And,
Thank you. This concludes another contract signing by the government of the Virgin Islands. I am your chairperson, Andrew Sintel here, in the Ministry of Communications and Works. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming.